Peace to the family. I left United States about 2015, 2014, somewhere around that time. Going to West Africa to get work. You know, I'm just like every other black man, black woman in America. I've been told several times to go back to Africa. I'm one of those cats that's not scared of nothing. When the job market got bad, I did exactly what any natural-born African would do. I went back to Africa. All right. Upon returning to the United States, I was kind of out of it. I guess I was over there maybe 6 years, 7 years. And I was pleasantly surprised to come back to the States and turn on the radio, man, and I was hearing Burna Boy, Wiz Kid, Yemi Alade, all sorts of Nigerian music, man. I was like, who would have ever thought that? But while I was in Africa, this was during the first term of the orange fella. While I was over there, I actually thought it was a hoax. Because when I left, that guy was on The Apprentice. So again, I heard through the grapevine that Bruce Jenner was Kylie Jenner and Donald Trump was president of the United States. So this was utterly hilarious to me, and I actually thought it was a hoax. Let me let you in on something. Where I was in Africa, Donald Trump had name recognition. You know, they would read his book, The Art of the Deal, and they thought he was a great businessman and all of those things. Not nearly as proficient as Brother Dangote from Nigeria. Ali Dangote, I believe that's his full name. So I was overseas and, getting a living, something I wasn't able to really do in the United States for some reason. I don't know. I always had a problem, getting a job in the United States, unless it was working in a mental hospital, washing up ass and cleaning up after people that couldn't clean up after themselves, which has its merits. But anyhow, I digress. So when I returned, I was hearing this African music. Everything was, it was, kind of like a Pan-African dream come true, to the extent that, we were moving and grooving together. In the 90s, you had the skyrocketing success of dancehall music from Jamaica, which was a worldwide phenomenon, which influenced African music. And quietly, when I was in Africa, I found Lionel Richie had a huge impact on African music. I was also surprised that one of the brothers from Kool and the Gang was living in Abidjan, and they were huge over there in Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire. So fast forward to today, I don't know when this concept arrived of descendants of African people and FBAs. But I never heard of it, and I never heard of who introduced that to our culture. And now I hear a lot of hateful things directed by quote unquote African Americans in terms of dealing with our brothers and our sisters from the Caribbean and in Africa. I don't know whether you had an argument with your hairstylist in the salon, or you beefing with some Nigerian, that may have went to school with you, university, HBCU, PWI. I don't know. But I was raised in Decatur, Georgia. And we got people from all over the world that reside in our community. Trinidadians, Jamaicans, Cameroonians, Ghanaians, Nigerians, Ethiopians, Somalis. It don't matter. Wherever people come from, that's where they come from. And we always got along. Shared culture, and became friends. But fast forward to the date. Some people have put this animosity in the hearts of African Americans towards our brothers and sisters from the Caribbean, our brothers and sisters from Africa, our brothers and sisters from South America, Europe, wherever they might come from. And to me, it looked like a psyop to further divide us from ourselves, to weaken us. It's even to the point now where African Americans have a condescending attitude towards people that we grew up with. The flip side of that is this. During this last election, you had a high percentage of Latinos and a high percentage of Arab Americans that voted for somebody that doesn't mean them any good or won't do anything for them positively. And a lot of African Americans with cause have reason to say, hey, I told you so. These people aren't with us. These people, they've ridden our coattails for us fighting for their rights, for everyone's rights. And then when they get to the place of success based on the fight of African American people, they don't know us. So yes, some African Americans, we do have cause to be tentative of some people that come here. But people are not a monolith. There's no group of people that's monolithic. So, me personally, I love Yasser Arafat. I love Fidel Castro. I love Nelson Mandela. And all of these guys were influenced by none other than Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Stokely Carmichael, Willie Ricks. Big shout out to Mukasa, Baba Mukasa. And I thought about that. Baba Mukasa was a contemporary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and he's still alive. So if they hadn't killed Martin Luther King Jr., he may have lived to see a ripe, long life and the actualization of his dream. But anyhow, we got a lot of confidence people, con people, con men and con women in our community that seek to profit off of dividing us. And then on the other hand, I've heard a lot of Latinos and Arab Americans defending their choices. But I say to these people, yeah, you have a choice, but you're making your choice on being white adjacent and getting far away from the people that actually broke down doors for you to go through. So I do understand where some of the people that may term themselves FBAs, where they come from. But I'm not one of those people. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I lived, loved, and worked in Africa, and I love the continent of Africa. I love African people. I'm going through something with my wife in terms of immigration. I put it out on social media that I was having a difficult time and my spirit was not at rest. I had friends from Africa calling me from France, calling me from Africa, not only to encourage me, but also offering solutions on how to help me to rectify the situation. They never turned their back on me, so I could never turn my back on them. It's somewhat bizarre, because if you be a friend, you will make a friend. And I feel that, African Americans, we have showed ourselves to be more than friends to just anybody and everybody. And now we divided against ourselves. These con people that use Pan-Africanism and the notion of delineation of African Americans separating ourselves from other groups. I tell you, you have to do your due diligence. Just because somebody say it don't make it right. I can recall some of the hardest hitting scholars, Dr. John Heinrich Clark, Dr. Yosef Ben Yuckanan. You follow Alabama, and a Puerto Rican, Ethiopian melange, taking heads, teaching people the truth. I never saw a debate that they showed up to along with Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Neely Fuller. May God be pleased with all of them. Protect them while they're in their grave. Every time a debate came up, they showed up and showed out. With the Shockleys, with the heads of white supremacy. But nowadays, we got people out here trying to build schools, finessing the people. And to a generation of people that were not blessed to be with the Dr. Clarks and the Dr. Ivan Van Sertima's, they don't have a knowledge base to know that we as Pan-Africanists, as African Americans, we got the blood of all nations flowing through our veins. Yes, many of us are original and indigenous to this land. I look at pictures of my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and my great-great-grandmother, and I know that indigenous blood flows through my veins. That's not to deny that African blood flows through my veins. Through my travels in West Africa, I would see people that look like neighbors, my family. And it was just simply amazing. When I was younger, I'm in my 50s now, but say when I was barely in my 20s, early 20s, late teens, and traveled to Africa, man, it would bring me to tears when I would see people that just looked like family. All right. So where I'm really driving to is get to know some people, travel some. And don't always be ready to alienate yourself from other people who have the same type of struggles as you have. Even if those Arab people in Michigan missed the assignment, we still have to bring them into the fold. Even if the Puerto Ricans missed the assignment, we still have to bring them into the fold. Because you have an open enemy who does not differentiate between those that he oppresses. One word is sufficient to the wise. Peace.